Hey everybody, it's Gene Marks, and welcome to this week's episode of the Paychex Thrive Week in Review podcast. This is where we take a few items from the news, talk about them a little bit because they impact your small business and my business as well. So we have some things to talk about. This week, I've got 3 stories for you that really kind of focus on the workplace and HR. So let's get started. The first story comes from foxbusiness.com, who is warning us that the Great Resignation 2.0 could be on the horizon, with 3 in 10 workers planning to quit in 2020. Let me go into the details here, okay? There were survey findings that were released by Resume Builder found that 28% of 1,000 full-time workers questioned plan to quit their jobs before the end of the year, with the highest percentage coming from the service industry and workers aged 18 to 34. Younger workers tend to switch jobs at a higher rate because they are trying to determine what type of function, industry, and environment would work best for them, said a representative from Resume Builder. In addition to that, the younger workers are eyeing more comfortable spot in the workplace, with more than half of those in the survey are dissatisfied with their current situation, citing low pay as a culprit behind their interest in leaving. 44% of the workers survey highlighted a desire for better benefits, while the desire for less stressful work trailed slightly behind at 43% of recipients. A couple other things from the survey that I found interesting. Remote working options are another priority as workers eye their next role after quitting. Increased demands from the workforce could shift positions to more remote or hybrid positions. It's an employer market right now. That's what they are seeing. But when the market starts shifting back to candidates, we'll see more perks. So the takeaway from this is that it seems that there is a significant percentage of workers that are planning to quit their jobs during this year, and we need to be aware of it. Almost 30% of workers. Why? Well, first of all, there's going to be natural attrition, so we have to expect that. But people are still eyeing benefits and compensation, and the big benefit, which is flexibility. Guys, I'm telling you, health insurance is important. Retirement, benefits are important. Other things like that. But man, the workers today, and we're talking about 50% of them are millennials or Gen Zers. They want flexibility, remote working, hybrid working situations where they can do their work at home, do their work in the office as well. If you're not giving them that kind of a workplace, if you're not offering good competitive benefits, you might be a victim of these 30% of workers that are planning to quit their jobs at the end of the year. Now, I mentioned in this article that one of the people from Resume Builders said that it is an employer market right now, which brings me to my next story. This story comes from bizjournals.com, and it's talking about ghosting. Right now, according to BizJournal, there are a very, very high percentage of employers who are ghosting their job candidates. This is, well, first of all, what ghosting is, during the Great Resignation, many of employers, my clients, were complaining that job candidates were ghosting them on interviews that they had scheduled or, visits to their office. And it was a little frustrating. Now the table has turned because it is an employer market. Even though unemployment remains very low, the number of open jobs are falling. So this was a survey by Flex Jobs Corp and My Perfect Resume. It found nearly half of their respondents had been ghosted by a potential employer, with 33% saying that it happened more than once. Additionally, candidates are also dealing with an increasing number of ghost job postings, which are essentially fake job postings that companies have no plans on actually to fill. Human resource experts say sometimes the purpose of these postings is to boost morale for existing employees, to project an image of growth, or to simply, assess what kind of talent is out there. So, it's an issue for employees that are looking for jobs right now. It's an indication of the tightening of the job market, where before employees were the ones ghosting, or potential employees were ghosting employers. Now it's the employers that are turning that around. Just remember, it's kind of like I said in my first story, you've got all these employees that are looking to quit their jobs, but then you've got another survey that's showing that a lot of employers, they're ghosting employees on interviews. They're even posting fake job, positions out there. So if you're an employee and you're watching or listening to this, be careful out there in the market. It might not be as strong as you think. The final story that I have to share with you today comes from talkingretail.com, which is a retail industry website. The headline of this story is about concerns over staff assault are highlighted in new research. And let me give you the details of this. Data from a commercial insurer showed that 34% of those that were surveyed said their ongoing issue of retail crime means they fear violence as well as staff assault in the shops that they work in. When asked about their biggest security worries in the industry, almost half of retailers, almost 45% of them, said it was the well-being of their staff and their customers, while 4 in 10, they said their biggest worry was an increase in thefts. 10% said they fear being unable to continue operating as a business. Almost a quarter of the people surveyed said that crime and violence is playing its part in the decline of brick and mortar shopping, with 27% saying the issue is forcing more customers online and away from that in-person experience. 65% of workers, 2/3, believe the main cause of retail crime is down to cost of living and recent inflation. So retail crime is not only taking a big impact on the employers themselves, on customers coming into the stores, on the profits of their stores, as shown by this insurance company survey. But we need to also be aware, if you're in the retail business, retail crime is having a big impact on our staff as well, with a significant percentage, as I'm mentioning in this story, are concerned about their own safety and concerns about being in a store where retail theft is rising and shoplifters come in and potentially threaten employees. And that is a big issue that needs to be addressed by the retail industry. No hard answers there, other than the fact that you have to do whatever you can do to keep your employees safe. And perhaps that's why a lot of stores have policies about not intervening when thefts are being done. Their priority is keeping their employees safe over just trying to mitigate a potential theft where it's money that could be covered by insurance, or it's a relatively small loss. There's obviously nothing more important than the safety and welfare of your employees, and obviously it's a big matter of importance to the employees as well. My name is G. Marks. You have been watching and or listening to this week's edition of the Paychex Thrive Week in Review. Hope you've enjoyed the news that I've shared with you and some of the insights that at least I have, as well as experts around the industries. If you need any tips or advice or help in running your business, or you want to see some of our older episodes, sign up for our Paychex Thrive newsletter. Go to paychex.com/thrive and you can get all the latest newsletters delivered right to your email inbox. Again, my name is G. Marks. Thanks for listening or watching. We will see you again next week. Take care.
This podcast is property of Paychex Incorporated 2024. All rights reserved.